Milwaukee. It's Tuesday, September 9th, and it's a beautiful day in Milwaukee. So here's what we have to look forward to today, shall we?
Yeah.
The devil is in the details. The devil is in the details. And I have the details of the market. I looked back. It's actually been since June since I gave you a market update. So yesterday I spent the afternoon doing a deep dive into the details of the market. Also, I looked into what's winning from a July perspective and an August perspective. We looked at over roughly 400 deals between the 2 months, and the stories are actually very compelling because what we had in July is different than what we had in August. And so we'll recap for you towards the end of this morning. But today, in staying within the theme of the devil is in the details, is continuously planting some seeds with you around where you are, where you're headed, and how you're paying attention to the market in order to win in the market of the moment. Sound good? All right, beautiful. Mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. I would say, today's goal is making sure that we're paying attention, that you're having a career worth having, businesses that are worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. And sometimes I think we lose sight of that in the heat of the market, of how quickly things move, the intensity of how and where interactions with our clients might show up. And it's important to keep it at the forefront as we head into the third and fourth quarter, because we're entering into that full phase of like working on our business and getting out of working in our business. And we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. One quick update for you, and this is more of an operational logistics update. We're in process of improving the booking experience across all locations to make scheduling easier, faster, and more user-friendly. We'll have the updates completed by this week, Friday. For now, you'll see all the office rooms in one booking window. The new booking link is kwmke.sketa.com. You can book it across any 7 of the locations, any of the rooms at any time. You can see what's available, what's not available. There's no need to recreate the bookings that are already within the systems in terms of like booking conference rooms or meeting spaces. You can start booking today, and you can expect a simplified, mapped booking experience by the week's end that I know the team's been working on in the background. And more to come in terms of more integration, which God forbid, the App Store is killing me right now, but I'm planting a seed in terms of something else we're working on. So with that, I'm going to jump right into education events up front, because I'm trying to get you guys and will you guys to think about working on your business in this period of time, what that means, what it looks like, and why it's important. And the week before Labor Day, I went through this thing called the energy dial in terms of what you need to be thinking about where we are, where we're headed in terms of the time of year. And right now you're in the period of fall cleanup, which should be focused mainly on your database management. As the propensity of deal flow starts to slow because of seasonality, you need to be thinking about, okay, how am I starting to set the stage strategically for Q1 into 2026? It starts with your database. If you don't know who you're effectively speaking or communicating to, you are speaking effectively to no one. So what does your database look like? How are you segmenting the difference between your leads and your contacts and going from there? Then I will you to stay in the period of winter renewal, not the period of winter vacation. Winter renewal, because the separation is in the preparation. It's where the top agents sign. It's where agents bring people together to create connection to their brand and reputation. How do you effectively do that during the period of time in which your social calendars are booked in November, December? How do you communicate who you are, what you do, and how you do it very effectively in a very casual setting through the period of November through February? Plenty of opportunities to do it. And yet, I also recognize that so many agents love to take off the period of November and December because they've just had a great year. They're ready to relax, and they come back refreshed in January, and then they get their ass kicked January, February, and March by not making any money because they took off November and December. And then I get the, oh my God, I'm freaking out in March when I haven't made a dime or a dollar because they just took the back quarter off. I won't allow you to do that, because then you'll enter into spring and summer explosion, and you'll get back to the point where we are today, where you're thinking, okay, how am I going to do this again? Okay. That's the cycle of life in this business. I've been doing it now, as you saw. I didn't realize it was been 8 years, but I've been doing it now for 8 years. I tell you, the cycle doesn't lie. This is the cycle. Embrace the cycle because you're not in it for a great year. You're in it to build a great career. And when you build the cycle, you can have the evergreen mindset. So I also shared with you a very interesting statistic as it relates to how people spend their time. And I showed you a quick little 90-second video from 1970s to today in terms of the incidence of where people spend their time. And it was a shocking number. 61% of people's times is now spent online and less interaction with people. And yet the challenge to it is how do you create a connection with people that's sticky? And or how do you create a connection with people in terms of, like, today I'm connecting with a group of folks in Tosa with their mastermind group around how do you create a sense of community, how do you create a sense of belonging, and how do you do that in a way that is sticky? And sticky is the question. Anybody can live online, anybody can post on Instagram, anybody can do a TikTok. Very few are sticky. So what is it that you're doing that sticks, and how are you creating that sense of belonging and community within your brand and within your reputation, what it is that you do and how you communicate it? And I challenged the group pre-Labor Day in terms of life is about choices. Agent productivity is the direct reflection of the choices they make. And I challenged the group in terms of the choices people made. Fall of 2024, here's an individual agent. In fall of 23, they couldn't afford it. Their 2024 results, they were in Q1 of 2024. They were in a tough spot. They invested their time, energy, in money during a period of time when they were actually, quite frankly, at the busiest. And look how it showed up within Q1 of 2025. Here's another individual agent. They invested their time, energy, and money in the fall of 23. They had their best Q1 ever in the Q1 of 2024. Fall of 2024, they had been there, done that, and they were too busy. They had a goose egg in the Q1 of 2025. Here's a mid-sized team. They invested their time, energy, and money. You can see the results. Fall of 24, they were too busy. First quarter, they were down 54% in units, down 33% in volume. And here's a large team that has consistently invested their time, energy, and resources and money consistently year over year over year. And you can see the results it produces within Q1. And I shared with the group on how it shows up within our own individual or our collective results as a brokerage. And I firmly believe that there's a reason to it. It's intentional and purposeful. It's not by chance or hope. Hope is not a strategy. So it's intentionality in terms of how you spend your time. And so with that, I shared with the group, Bold delivers results. Change my mind. It's hard to argue with the facts. And so with that, we're launching Bold on September 25th at the Zufari Conference Center. And this morning, I asked Coach Amber to run it back with us to give you guys a little bit of her energy in terms of what you can expect this fall in the Bold Room. Coach Amber, it's all yours.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Woo-woo,
Rocking and rolling.
87 people online. I love it. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Charlie. I know you told me I had 4 minutes to coach up our agents. No, I'm just kidding. First of all, I'm grateful to come back to Milwaukee. Not often do I have the honor of seeing agents, coaching them, staying in relation, and then getting to come back. So thank you guys for the invite back. It was a really special time last fall. And if you know anything about me, I'm not here to sell you on Bold. I just want to bring value to you. Okay. So if you have something to write with, grab a pen. I want to share 2 things with you. Yet I'm going to ask you to ask yourself some questions. Okay. So right now, is your business for 2025 the goal that you set for yourself? Have you accomplished it? Yes or no? Like, are your closed and pending going to get you there? And then I want you to write this down, 112, 112. Does anybody know what that stands for? That's how many days are left in the year. So that might seem a little frightening. Here's the good news though. We still have 30% of the year left. Okay, that's a little more encouraging. Yet write this number down, 77. 77 is how many work days you have left from now until the end of the year. Okay, are some of you feeling a little bit of pressure? I am, okay? And I'm excited because no pressure, no diamonds, okay? Here's what I'd like to share with you. If you're thinking, hey, I'm not at where I intended to be, there's a formula that one of my MAPS coaches shared with me, and I want to share it with you, okay? So grab a pen and write this down. It is performance equals potential minus interference. Performance equals potential minus interference. So let's start with performance. Well, you already shared that with me. You were either performing at goal, above goal, or behind goal, and there's a reason. The reason is this on the other side of the equation, your potential minus interference. So let's start with potential. I want you to think about this, like this is your God-given potential, like anything that you could dream of, you could accomplish. And let me help you think differently or think bigger. That annual goal that you have for 2025, write it down. Write down the number. Maybe it's 50 houses, maybe it's 15 houses, maybe it's 150 houses, maybe it's 500. I want you to look at that number. Is there someone that's closing that number of homes this month? Yes or no? Yeah, there's somebody that's probably closing that number this week, or even that number of homes today, or one day at a time. That's what I'm talking about when I say potential. Sometimes we think our potential is smaller, and that's actually what's our interference. So let's go there for a second on interference. So our potential, our God-given potential minus interference. What is the interference for you? Is it distraction? Are you saying yes to everything? Is it your lack of management of time? Are you starting every week with a 411 and a time block completed? Do you have a plan? Are you struggling with decision fatigue? Do you commit to talking to 20 people a day and it just doesn't happen because we're interfering with whatever notifications, drama from our deals, whatever it might be? Sometimes the distraction may be something like our kids. We don't have a bunker set up and we work from home, okay? So interference could be literal, and yet the reality is oftentimes it is more an interference of our mindset, the software of our mind, okay? And our software, just like in a computer, I mean, it's just running in the background, okay? Do you think, if I asked you this question, what you do every single day repeatedly, is it sharpening you or is it pulling you back more towards mediocrity? Charlie just gave us some great examples. There are people that make choices that are uncomfortable and they sharpen them and they've got the results. Or yet we kind of turn our eye and say, I'm too busy. I've got too many other things going. And those decisions, as he showed us the numbers, can pull us back towards mediocrity. Okay. So interference sometimes is our mindset, what happens in our mind. So I want to share with you, and you can draw it if you'd like, yet I've got an example for you. This is our mind. Okay, this is the software that we're running. Our mind, about 25% of it is we know what we know. We know how to go on a listing appointment. We know how to unlock a lockbox. Like we know these things, okay? Then there's about half of that 25%. We know what we don't know. Like maybe you've never done a short sale deal. Maybe you don't know how to handle a probate. You know that you don't know, okay? Guys, that's like the smallest portion of our mind. The largest portion of our mind is our unconscious or subconscious mind, which is where these awful things called blind spots live. How many of you know you've got some blind spots? Well, let me tell you if you have a blind spot. If you intend to talk to 20 people, if you intend to grow that social media presence, if you've intended to launch the YouTube page and just haven't done it, the reason you haven't done it actually lives in your unconscious mind. If I were to ask your team leader or Charlie or your productivity coach or maybe the person you share an office with what your blind spots are, could they probably identify some? Spends too much time checking email, scrolls on social media, doesn't have the confidence in themselves, doesn't practice the conversations enough. We all have blind spots. And yet here's the opportunity. I have blind spots. And here's what I'd like to share with you though. Coaches are powerful and amazing for this reason. They ask questions to move the unconscious into the conscious, from that 75% to the 25%. When you're in a bold room or you're on a coaching call or Charlie asks you a question and it rubs you the wrong way and it makes you uncomfortable, That's bringing the unconscious to the conscious so we can actually do something about it. Okay. I want you to write this down because this phrase is really the key to determining whatever you want in life and choosing it. It's this: until you make the unconscious conscious, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Until you make the unconscious, why do I snooze? Why do I sleep in? Why do I avoid the gym? Why don't I have the confidence to go knock the doors, to make the calls? Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And as we know, as we get older, the number one thing that we face is regret, that we didn't put ourselves in those moments to bring unconscious to conscious and actually do something about it. Well, here's the great news. You have an opportunity right now to get into an environment. And Charlie and I were talking this morning. We brainstorm, if not daily, every couple of days about this because your whole leadership team cares so much. And he goes, Amber, here's the crazy thing. All of our top agents are in it. We have 50, 60 top agents already committed, signed up, like the top of the top, they get it. You guys, there's another phrase I love to say, success leaves clues. So for those of you that haven't committed, I want to share this with you. You have so much potential, and unfortunately, you're allowing interference. The interference of I'm too busy, the interference of I can't afford it, the interference of whatever it might be, stand in the way of your potential, which then impacts your performance. And for those of you that I don't know, let me share with you how I know this actually works. 12 years ago, I was a school teacher, like standing in a room with fifth graders 12 years ago. Since then, I have put myself into an uncomfortable room with coaches that have asked me questions that frankly many times made me mad, yet it pulled my unconscious forward and said, just use the conversation, use the script, make the call. From that, now co-founder of a team in Gary's top group, own vacation rentals across the United States, own 2 market centers, have 4 kids, 16 and under. Lord, sometimes I want to slap their unconscious because they are wild, these children. Anyway, somebody's laughing, they get it. KW master faculty, all of these different things. And here's the reality. 12 years ago, I was living in just a very different unconscious cycle, a life by default. And what I'd like to ask you is join me. You have the same path in front of you, the same opportunities in front of you when you actually take a stand for something better. And you say, you know what, make me uncomfortable, ask me the tough questions, and start the accountability. So I'd love to know, drop in the chat box, who's joining us? Who's excited to fire up fourth quarter, quarter 1 of 2026? Because it's only 112 days away.
Well, and the key to it, Amber, is twofold. One, last year we had 144 people who took the class, made a choice. You challenged them in a way that brought their unconscious to their conscience, and the results showed up in people's productivity in the first quarter. It showed up in the brokerage's productivity in the first quarter. And the feedback from Amber being in the room was so positive, I convinced her to come back to Wisconsin from Florida during the fourth quarter because of the way that she engaged the group, the way that she was relatable in terms of her what she manages from a family standpoint, her business standpoint. And so we're excited to have Amber back this fall to pour into our group. Sound good?
I love it. I'm excited. Is it going to stay in the 70s the whole time while I'm there like last fall?
Well, unfortunately, we're already in the 50s.
What? What is happening? You guys need me to come back sooner.
There you go. Well, Amber, thanks for pouring into our group this morning.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate it. And guys, wanted to give you a little bit of a taste around what you can expect from Amber this fall and what will be the type of energy that we will be bringing to you starting on September 25th. Sound good?
I'm dropping my cell phone in the chat box. If anybody would like to declare to me their goals for Bold, shoot me a text and I'd love to start the accountability now.
Love it. Thanks,
Bye,
Amber.
guys.
All right. So with that, just to share with you guys, as we've done in the past is we're offering a bold payment plan that allows you to split it up over several months of your invoice. There is a bold scholarship application. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. Those that do the work will get money. Everybody who submits an application, we always find a way to get money. So fill out the application, and I can tell you that we've already have an incredible group of folks that have already submitted some donations for those, for bold scholarships as well, because someone had done it for them, or they've seen the impact it has had on other people's lives and they want to make a contribution and pay it forward. So would encourage you guys to either participate in the payment plans, the scholarship applications, or if you're ready to jump into full bold, do so today. Sound good? Beautiful. With that too, for those that registered for today, we had a few more balloons that weren't popped from the last time we did this pre-Labor Day. So each of our locations will be running a spinning wheel for anybody who decides to take the leap of faith and jump in the bold room on September 25th with Amber. Today we have a few more introductory scholarships for those, and we'll be running those immediately after team meeting. Sound good? All right. With that, I'm flipping it over. September training calendar. Here it is. You can read it. With that, I'm flipping it over to Vranek, who's got an exciting announcement around an upgraded partnership with Canva and how you guys can take advantage of that in terms of Keller Williams' new partnership with Canva. Vranek?
Yeah, all right. So you guys, I teased this a few months ago, and I'm really excited to say as of last week, Thursday, every Keller Williams associate now has a Canva plus KW enterprise account. And essentially what that is Canva Pro, but even better, because you are getting hundreds of different Keller Williams branded templates. You're getting the KW brand kit, all within this one account. So next slide, Charlie, I've got some other details in here. So as I said, it's available to all KW associates. You'll simply go to canva.kw.com and you'll log in with your command credentials. So it's very easy to get to. If you're logging in using your same web browser, it's probably going to recognize your Canva or your command credentials anyway, and boom, you're going to get in. It's going to look and feel the same as any other Canva account. So if you guys are using Canva, you're already going to be used to this. You're just going to have more. So again, it's an upgraded Canva account. You get all of the same features as you do with a Pro account. You get all of the KW branded templates. So there are hundreds of different templates in here for social media, for listing flyers, for buyer and seller guides. So you'll see a ton in there under that brand section. There's also MLS integration, so you can seamlessly create and deploy marketing right from your listing pipeline. It's not just going to pull in your listings, it's going to be the full MLS and MLSs across the country as well. So very similar to how MLS is integrated within Command, you'll see that same capability within Canva. You have enhanced support. So not only do you have support through Canva, you have support through KW, along with Canva's entire design studio. So they have a ton of different training resources just within Canva. So if you've used Canva or even used or have a Canva Pro account, I highly recommend diving into some of that training, because there are a ton of tips and tricks within Canva Pro that you can utilize to really enhance your designs and enhance your marketing within here. All right, so I just wanted to share.
Hey, Lynn.
Yes.
And what does this cost everybody?
Oh my gosh, it's free.
Oh, I was just checking.
Free. Yes, thank you. All right, so just a really quick video to show you guys exactly what this is going to look like when you log in.
Are you struggling to make your real estate marketing stand out? My name's Donnie on the Labs team, and I'm going to solve that for you today with Canva. Let's dive right in. Starting first with creating your account by navigating to canva.kw.com, where you'll leverage the same credentials that you use to log into Command. Then, agree to Canva's terms of use and privacy policy before continuing to Canva to create your account. Now that you've logged into your account, step number 2 is going to be accessing the Keller Williams brand kits and brand templates that we've created for you. You'll do so by navigating to brand over on the left-hand side of the screen. And you'll see first the brand kits, where you'll have the Keller Williams core brand. You'll also have access to brand kits for our luxury and commercial divisions. In addition to that, you're going to have brand templates. These templates are designed to help you jump into real estate specific activities. Everything from those for sale to advertise your listings, local market updates, even presentations to prepare meeting with future customers.
All right, so a lot of really great stuff here, you guys. So again, this is live as of last week, Thursday, canva.kw.com. Log in with your command credentials. And there's also a ton of resources available for training. So there's a KW plus Canva FAQ, which will answer a lot of questions, including, okay, if I have a Canva Pro account and I want to cancel that account and just strictly use this KW account, can I do that? The answer is yes. You can reach out to Canva support and get refunded if you did purchase a yearly subscription. So that is certainly possible. If you want to watch that full how-to video or watch that back, that QR code is on there. And there's also an entire answers.kw.com section dedicated to Canva with all of those different training guides available to you. And then start creating. Log in today, you guys. Check it out, see what's available. But entire Canva Pro Enterprise account waiting for you free of charge. So really
Cool.
exciting stuff.
The other thing is too, just so you guys know too, this doesn't replace our marketing concierge program either. So for those that, hey, I need the team to do this for me, cool. It means we're also using this in the background as well. And it's just for those that like to do their own stuff, know that you have more access to more resources.
Exactly. Yes. Our marketing concierge is still available and happy to help you guys with implementing and creating your designs. This is just additional for you guys. All right, so switching gears just a little bit, we started with the AI playbook on large language models last week. Part 2 is this Thursday at 11 on Zoom. So join me again this Thursday, where we're going to talk all about mastering the prompt and diving into the RICE model and actually figuring out, okay, I've determined what sort of things to talk about with my business, how to feed the AI model in order to provide me exactly what I'm looking for when I'm using ChatGPT or Gemini. So join me on Thursday going over exactly how to master the prompt, what to feed that AI model. And then September 18th, we're going to put it all together and go through exactly how to make those prompts work for your business. So diving into that AI playbook that Keller Williams released during Mega Camp this year, breaking it out into 3 different parts. So if you missed last week, it is on our YouTube channel to check out, and then join me on Thursday.
Sweet. Linz, thank you. Lots of updates, lots of things on AI. Canva, the enterprise relationship with Canva is now available and accessible to you guys. Feel free to start using it. With that, I'll flip it over to Steph. Lieutenant, I hope you had a great vacation down in Miami. What do these guys need to be paying attention to around procuring cause and standards of practice?
I did. Thank you, Charlie. Good morning, everyone. So we just wanted to briefly visit the topic of procuring cause this morning. Our intention is not to open up a big can of worms on this. We could spend the whole morning talking about this. But we really just want to remind you guys on best practices when working out in the field with buyers. Also the course of action you might want to take if you feel you have a procuring cause claim against somebody, or if somebody is coming to you with a procuring cause claim. And then also just reminding ourselves kind of the nature of the beast of our business in terms of how buyers can go rogue on us as well. So just first of all, just kind of redefining what procuring cause is. So simply put, this happens when a broker may claim that they are entitled to a commission, even though they may have not ultimately closed with that buyer on a transaction. So they may have had a previous, connection or established relationship with that buyer as it relates to a specific listing. and then may make a claim that they are entitled to that commission, even though, again, they may not have ultimately closed on the transaction, but another agent has. So then the GMAR further defines this as the broker will be regarded as the procuring cause of a sale, so as to be entitled to a commission if his efforts are the foundation on which the negotiations resulting in a sale are begun. So next slide, Charlie, to kind of further clarify, like in a more formal setting. So if it does come down to the case where we are in a formal hearing over a commission dispute conducted by our boards, procuring cause, the things that they're going to be looking at, procuring cause can be readily understood as the uninterrupted series of casual events which results in the successful transaction. So what we really want you guys to hear and understand too on this is that there's no one predetermining rule of entitlement. So for example, a buyer agency relationship in and of itself does not mean you have procuring cause on a transaction, nor does hosting an open house or simply showing a property. So it can get very complicated. And we're looking at, again, a series of events, a timeline established, which could lead you to be the one to claim and say that you have earned that commission. So next slide, Charlie, again.
Steph, one thing I will make mention of, because this is very important, and I get this phone call a lot when people are really pissed off and they want to talk about procuring cause. I say, great, let's talk about it, because I've sat in a lot of these situations.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The key piece of this is there's no one predetermining rule of entitlement. Understand that. Each situation is different. Two, when they talk about an uninterrupted series of casual events which results in a successful transaction, one of the very first questions they will ask is, how was the subject property introduced to the potential buyer? Usually it's a buyer situation. And they will want to understand the uninterrupted series of events of how the subject property was introduced. So just want to make sure further clarifications is having sat through a lot of these and in terms of how the board looks at these when you go in front of an arbitration situation.
Yeah, and no two are alike either, so that's why we can't really be black and white about this, as much as I would love to be. So just again, when we're fielding these calls as well, it's a lot of thought has to go into how we're going to approach it as well. So again, too, we just really want you guys to ultimately understand as well, if it does get down to this formal hearing, panel members and the one leading the panel as well, they're always going to be encouraging that we're going to come down to an agreement that the brokers ultimately have worked out between themselves, versus a panel making a final decision. If a panel does hear a case and has to make a final decision on it, it's going to be an all or nothing situation. So that entire commission is going to be rewarded to one side or another and not split if it comes down to that. So if it is the case where you want to bring a procuring cause claim against someone, or you are the recipient of one, first and foremost, we're always going to be trying to attempt to work it out between ourselves. So we want you guys to hear that as well. Somewhere the truth probably lies in the middle, right? And on who ultimately has a claim to the commission. So then, as an extension of this, and this has come up a lot, next slide, Charlie. In terms of standards of practice and being reminded of our code of ethics. So a lot of us miss this. And, I had to be reminded of this over the summer with a case that we were looking at. So we have a duty as buyer's agents before entering into a relationship, a buyer agency agreement. We do, per the code of ethics, need to ask if they are currently under an agency agreement with another broker. So the way that it reads is the next slide. Again, this is coming right out of the code of ethics. And I'm going to skip right to the second paragraph here. So before providing substantive services, such as writing a purchase offer or presenting a CMA to prospects, realtors shall ask prospects whether they are a party to any exclusive representation agreement. Realtors shall not knowingly provide substantive services concerning a prospective transaction to prospects who are parties to exclusive representation agreements, except with the consent of the prospect's exclusive representatives or at the direction of prospects. So, you know, you might be in a situation where a buyer knows that they are in a buyer agency agreement with another broker and has directed you to write an offer. So again, that's a different scenario altogether, and you are just taking direction from that client. Ultimately, you know, again, if you guys are in these kind of weird, tough situations, like, I don't know how to handle this, obviously you're coming to the compliance team and we'll help you navigate it. But yeah, again, this has come up a couple times just within the past couple of weeks, that other brokers have called us and said, your agent is working with somebody and they are in a buyer agency agreement with us. So again, we need to be asking those questions before we enter into a buyer agency agreement, or a listing agreement as well. So, okay. And with that now, I'm excited to have that we have this information ahead of time, but the GMAR dues are coming. Michelle from the GMAR will be sending out our payment link on September 15th. So please, please, please be on the lookout for that. It's going to come from Michelle. So michelle@gmar.com. The dues this year are a little over $1,000, which is in line with years past, of course. Optional $20 fee can be deducted to bring it down. And then, as always, if you pay early prior to October 31st, you can receive yet another discount and bring it down even lower. But just don't miss this email. We'll be checking in on this now from now until the end of the year. So get ready for me being very annoying about it. So
Perfect. Thanks, Steph.
yeah.
Real quick, I want to touch on one follow-up item on this. And this is a very, very important reminder that everyone needs to understand, okay, as it relates to procuring cause. Procuring cause issues will not get resolved until a transaction successfully closes.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay? There is no need to interrupt a consumer's desire to purchase property fighting over commission. And we will only pursue procuring cause upon a successful completion of a transaction, no matter who is involved in the transaction. Oftentimes I will get agents who call and they're very emotionally distressed and they're believe that they were wronged and they want me to go pursue procuring cause. Cool. We will always have your back and we will always do so. And if it doesn't close for 90 days, there's nothing we will do in that period until there is a successful completion of a transaction as to not interrupt the transaction. So I want you guys to be very clear in terms of how this plays out, in terms of when we engage, how we engage, and what we do for that. Make sense? I just want to make sure that was a very clear distinction, because we will always have your back and we will always go after it for you and represent your interests. But there's a way in which that we have to engage these things as to not interrupt a transaction. Cool? I would also tell you, we have a really freaking badass compliance team, and I don't have the track record of results in front of me directly, but the chances of us pursuing these when people have really been wronged have been incredibly high in terms of laying out a very understood timeline of events that have led to very successful outcome for our associates, including, and I got to give a shout out, there is one specific agent, not to call them out by name by any means, who decided to roll the dice because they very much felt they were in the wrong and they were willing to go 100% or zero. And we supported them. It was their decision in terms of what they wanted to do and pursue, and they got it 100%. And we helped them lay out their plan of attack for that. So there's definitely use cases for why the procuring cause piece is important in order to protect your interests. And there's times in which we have to engage these based on the timeline of events. Cool? Sweet. Thanks, Steph.
Thank you. Oh, contract fees. Oh,
What?
keep going.
All right. With that, I led with the devil is in the details. Here are your details. Here's your market insights around the 5-county metro area. Okay. Yes, these are, I looked at this for Kenosha and Walworth as well, for those wondering, from a 7-county metro area, and the direction is almost identical, right? It's a bit of a rounding error. But here you go. So I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to give you a grocery store market of the moment script, and I'm going to show you what's winning, and I'm going to give you everything you need to know as it relates to what is happening in the market. Sound good? So here we go. New inventory units. August was soft. August this year versus last year was down 10%. There was 256 fewer new listings this year in August versus August of last year. When you look at it in this month, I looked at where we were versus July of this year. So you can see the progression from July to August. And I showed you where we were versus August of 23, a 2-year window. Okay. So this August versus last August, new inventory was soft. Versus July, it was even softer, but there's also seasonality to this business. So new inventory units, you can see, was down 13%, July this year versus August of this year. And when you compare it versus August of 23, it was down 10%. That is the very first indication I will have in the statement that I will make over and over again today. I think the market is following the seasonality of the weather, which means it is starting to cool down. Okay? And you need to be paying attention. Side note, it's another reason why you need to be in bold, but I won't dig you with that. Okay? Total inventory, this is where things get interesting, is starting to rise. This year versus last year, August, it was up 3%. This year versus July, August versus July of this year, it was basically flat. August versus August of 23, it's up 5%. Now remember, August of 22 and August of 23 were kind of at the low point of the market. The thing that is concerning to me, though, is the fact that August new inventory was down 10% versus August of 23. You can't do more deals if there isn't new inventory coming to the market. Hence my comment of, I think the market is starting to follow the seasonal path of the weather, which is cooling off. So, expired inventory units, guys, if you aren't paying attention to this, you need to be. August of this year versus August of last year, it was up 13%. Versus July of this year, it was up 16%. And versus August of 23, it was up 28%. You need to be right-sizing seller expectations immediately, or you will be canceled. The second piece of this, and I feel like I've been beating a dead horse on this for 2 years, is there is an opportunity to be number 2 in the marketplace, because sellers are giving the first listing agent less and less of an opportunity to come to market. Sales absorption rate, this is the percentage of inventory that goes under contract in a given month. In the month of August this year versus last year, it was down 6.5%. It was down 5% versus July of this year. However, that is in line with the seasonal reduction. And yet it's down 11% versus August of 23. So new inventory units are down, and demand in terms of sales absorption is down. The market is cooling off. Pay attention. Okay. Now, average days on market, if new inventory units is slowing and demand is slowing, what would you expect from a days on market? It's getting longer. It's up 13%, or 4 days this year, August versus last year, August. It's even versus July, although July we saw a spike from June. Okay, 30 days on average across the entirety of the market, and it's up 18% versus August of 23. AKA, it is taking 18% longer to sell properties. Hence why I say it pretty much tells you the story, is why I think expireds are substantially up. Okay. So units going under contract, if new inventory is going down and sales absorption has gotten a little soft, what do you think has happened with units going under contract? It's gotten soft. August of this year, it was off 3% versus last year. It was off 6% versus July of this year when you look at it from a July to August standpoint, and it was off 7%, or 130 units versus August of 23. This is a bit concerning to me. Okay. It's a bit concerning when you look at it over a 2-year horizon. Now, this is where things get fascinating, because you would surmise that if inventory is down, new units going under contract is down, demand is starting to soften, you should start to see what? Pricing soften. It's not necessarily the case. And this is part of the Econ 101 that I don't really have an explanation for. Because August of this year versus August of last year, pricing was up 11% on an average. Versus August of 23, it's up 19%. The median, again, the median is the middle, takes out the extremes. The median's up 6% versus August of last year and up 14% versus August of 23. This is the inexplainable of the inexplainable within the market. And when you look at it on a price per square foot basis, it is up 13% versus last year and up 17% versus August of 23. And when you look at the pricing metrics as it relates to where it was versus July, considering that the market receded July to August and pricing remained basically we call it even, told me that the trend line stayed the same in terms of where appreciation was happening. This is the part of the market that's the inexplainable part of the market, but also tells you what consumers are signaling to us as it relates to what they believe the value the real estate has within their overall picture, AKA they're valuing the real estate. Why do I believe that to be true? In I think a world of a lot of uncertainty, and we've seen a lot of uncertainty, people look to stability. And so the reason why I think prices are continuing to appreciate is they're viewing real estate as a very stable asset within our environment today, not knowing, tariffs and this, that, and the other, right? What's happening in capital markets? What's happening in the S&P? What's happening globally? So what the consumer is signaling to us is that they are valuing this asset class, which is why I believe it to be continuing to appreciate in southeastern Wisconsin. So let's go into what's winning. We made a few adjustments in terms of what we were tracking this month, July and August. I didn't share this with you in July. I realized I missed it. Okay. And we pulled some things out because some things weren't changing, like earnest money. Okay, no one cares. It was like 1.8%. There was something else I looked at and I was like, okay, that's not changing. MoveOn.com. So this month we've added inspection thresholds. How many of the deals are having inspection thresholds, and what's the average size of the inspection threshold that is included in the deals that have them? So again, I shared you April and May of 24 versus April and May of 25. So you can see how, from a spring market perspective, how competitive the market got really in April and May of this year. It was more competitive this year than it was last year. And you can see based on those metrics, based on list price to accepted offer ratio, inspection contingency. And then one of the things that we started paying attention to was co-broke compensation. And we saw as the market got more competitive, compensation dipped. So let's take a look at what happened in July. July, you can definitely see list price to accepted offer ratio cooled from May, right? It cooled from May from 107% to 103%. Inspection contingencies, still the majority of 52% did not have an inspection contingency. And yet cash versus finance, it relatively stayed the same. 26% were cash, 74% were financed. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is June. Now take a look at July. July definitely cooled. Okay, 100%, basically 100.3% was the list price to accepted offer ratio. 61% now had inspections, which is a big jump from June to July. Okay, there was an uptick of cash, more cash deals happening, cash versus finance in July. And 20% of all deals had an inspection threshold, with the average inspection threshold being $5,500. The other interesting thing was the average co-broke compensation ticked up in July, not down. So let's take a look at August, because the numbers are different even in August. And as I've stated before, and I'll state again, the market is following the weather patterns, which is cooling. So with a market that's been cooling, what won in August? Basically, your list price to accepted offer ratio is basically the same as it was in July. I don't know what to make of this. 49% had inspections and 51% did not, which was a substantial jump from June to July to August. Cash offers went back down to 72.28, which is about on average where it's been. Although 28% of offers now in the month of August did have an inspection threshold, with the average being $5,400. So following 2 months of trends, you can see the average basically being 5,400 to 5,500. About, I would just say rough math, a quarter of all offers have an inspection threshold. And co-bro compensation went up again, which to me tells me as the market cools, people are articulating their value a bit more. And as the market is more competitive, as we saw in May, they're playing with where those dollars and how that nets out from a net perspective. Okay. So looking at all this data, I shared with you my predictions in the beginning of the year, and I think this is incredibly interesting. The market will be up single digits right now, and you'll see here in a second, the market's flat. We'll see where the back quarter of the year goes. Closed dollar volume, the market will be up 7% or more. Right now, we're at up 8% within the market. I was pretty much on trend with that. Housing is an asset. People will continue to value of owning a home, and the continued realization of younger generations for wealth building opportunities to enter the market will drive prices up. That's stayed true. And the regional population, Midwest as a regional, will continue to grow. I think that stayed true, which is also why I think that you're seeing pricing where it is. Now, here's my market of the moment script for you. Basically, how do I boil down all this data and what do I make of it? Demand of the market. Demand is changing like the fall seasons. It's cooling down. And it's impacting inventory as well. New inventory coming to the market has slowed down in conjunction with slowing demand, yet increasing overall available of inventory in the market. Right? Like this is the seesaw effect. There's more inventory in the market for the buyers who might have buyer fatigue. And yet there's less new inventory than what we've seen in years past, and demand is starting to cool. Rate of sale and velocity. This has led to homes sitting on the market a tad longer than people might expect or what their expectations are, especially at certain price points and geographically dependent. This is kind of a point I've been making since August. Like you have to be you have to be honed into the markets that you want to play in. Know your market, know your market, know your market, because the market in Heartland is different than Whitefish Bay. Whitefish Bay is different than Franklin. Franklin's different than Muskego, and Muskego is different than Kenosha. Know your market. Or as Bill Belichick says, do your job. Expireds have accelerated pace. Sellers are becoming impatient. Set expectations, communicate price appropriately. Pricing, despite all of this, homes have continued to appreciate, which is signaling to you they value the asset because they're seeking stability. So more available. So my synopsis of all of it, here are my 3 or 4 points that you talk about at the grocery store. There's more inventory available than prior years. Signs of the ultra competitive market are beginning to cool down this fall. Sellers who sell, be realistic. Right size, how long will this take and what is it worth? Be proactive in your price change strategy. It is all dependent on time of what your seller's expectations are. And prices are not cooling. Consumers are signaling they still value real estate as a stable asset in an uncertain market. Cool. All of it will be available to you on kwrealtymke.com. We'll load it in there immediately after this so that anything you want to take from the presentation, feel free. And if you have any questions, reach out to your leadership teams. We're here to help. Quick little update for you as it relates to the productivity. Here is where we're performing versus the market. And I go back to, this doesn't happen by hope and chance. It happens by intentionality and being purposeful within your business. And I got to give a shout out to this group and this community and how you've created intention and purpose to how you continue to grow and build your market share in this market. Going back to the predictions, I said it would be up low single digits. We're basically flat on closed units. Sales volume I thought would be up 7% or more. We're at 8%. So it's right where I thought the market would be. My commentary as I look at a 5-year outlook, we're going to be at a slow march of growth. A slow march of growth. I'll talk more about that as we head into the fourth quarter. Here's the lower report based on brand productivity. Basically, you guys are killing it. I don't really know what else to tell you. The last 2 years, we had been very even with other brands, and we've really taken a jump forward in terms of how you guys are attacking the market and not allowing interference to get in front of your potential. And I got to give you a lot of credit there. This is inclusive. Oh, this is the trends of what we've seen versus the brand. So this is on a rolling 12-month, and this is a year to date. But I like looking at I like numbers that go left and to the right. Those are good trends. And for our friends in Kenosha and Walworth County, I've now started to include the 7-county top 10 brokerage brands. So you can see, inclusive of Kenosha and Walworth County, where we stack against our peers. Or quite frankly, where you stack versus your peers. And here's the rolling 12-month trend change. I like numbers that go left and to the right. Lastly, for those of you who desire to understand the luxury market, I think this is a fascinating statistic. As a community, we sell 1 in every 4 homes in the luxury market in southeastern Wisconsin, and we sell 2x, 100% more homes than the number 2 brand. 100% more, 2x. 100%, 2x, 100%, 2x. That is really freaking incredible. And so as those of you that are trying to break in through the luxury, work in the luxury, there's a lot of power in terms of the network in the community as it relates to how that works. And here are the trend changes as you see on a rolling 12-month basis. And I like numbers that go left and to the right, but I really like numbers that go left and then straight up. So I got to give a shout out to those that work within the luxury space. You're absolutely killing it and taking market share. And I share with you this numbers to say we are only a reflection of your collective businesses, but it helps tell the story of like people like playing on winning teams and they like having winning teammates. And that's the beauty of our environment of supporting those that are winning and what is possible in terms of what you can accomplish. So as I've led with the last 2 to 3 weeks, because this has been on the forefront of my mind heading into 2026, what a privilege to be tired from the work you once begged for the universe for. What a privilege to feel overwhelmed by growth you used to dream about. What a privilege to be challenged by a life you created on purpose. What a privilege to outgrow the things you used to settle for. Guys, it's an incredible place to be. We're grateful for your partnership and trust every day. We're here to serve you, and we will continue to help minimizing your interference to help you reach your potential. Sound good? It's a beautiful day in Milwaukee, guys. Thanks for showing up. Have a great day.